Stupid, bro.
Okay. Okay, wait. We need to sync. Sync the claps. Where's the alcohol?
What?
I wanna have another sip before we go. And we need to be like more centered.
Alright, we good.
Alright. So I roll up my sleeve.
Sure, dude.
I've got a feeling it too.
Alright.
You can like.
Why are you rolling it that high up?
Huh? Is that too high?
No, that's true. You're good.
This is so dank. I feel like that's like a good selling factor. It's like honest. We're not trying to be anything we're not. You know?
Yo, mad crackheads be out there, dude.
Should I close the window?
Nah, we're good.
Okay.
Bars.
Alright. So we should start it. How do we start? I'll just start it. Alright, welcome back to welcome back.
I feel like a douchebag drooling, dude. Who even drools anymore? I'm gonna put this away from me.
I'm drinking fucking back.
So, this is the first episode of our podcast. It's gonna be on YouTube, and hopefully we'll upload it to some sort of podcast site.
Yeah.
It's called Throwback 2 Podcast.
Because we'll be discussing just like past things and thinking about like what we learned about it and just talking about that.
Yeah, funny stories, crazy experiences, all that stuff. But yeah.
Yeah. First off, just want to address how ratchet this is in like the dorm in a bottle of wine in a bag. But it's honest. We're not trying to pretend to be anything that we're not. All right. So how was your day today, or how has your week been?
It's been okay.
Yeah.
That's about it. It's been okay.
Yeah. Okay.
It's been alright.
Feeling any of the stress for the midterms or the finals? Cause that's
Yeah, a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. A little bit of stress for midterms and finals.
Yeah. It's gonna be harder than I thought. I'm just too giggly right now.
To restart.
Okay, take 2. All right, that was only 2 minutes.
Take 2.
Okay.
All right, with more energy, bro. Energy.
Energy.
All right.
Welcome to the Throwback 2 podcast. This is our first episode. I'm Forrest.
I'm Chris.
And basically we'll be talking about just old memories and things that we think are funny from the past and just sharing that with you guys.
Yeah, so we both grew up a little bit, in America, in Beijing, and we met in high school, and we went on a bunch of trips over summers together, and I don't know, yeah, so now that we're living a little farther together, I don't know, we found that this podcast would be just really fun to do, to catch up and like reflect on like memories, and also just like
reminisce a
little bit.
Yeah. So let's start off with the small talk. My week has been
Bro, fuck your week, alright?
How has your week been?
My week's been alright. There's nothing, I mean, we're both college students, so
Yeah.
We're just busy with like midterms and then exams and getting ready for Christmas break to roll around.
So I'm visiting Chris right now at SC, and I'm from SD.
I'm not jerking him off, alright? Alright, I got alcohol, bro. This ain't that kind of video, bro. This isn't that kind of podcast.
No, it's not. So today Chris and I went on. We were really fortunate to have Chris's, I guess, like godparents. Family friends, really close family friends, take us out for dinner, and pretty much they asked us a lot of very thought-provoking questions about our own experiences this summer. And so this summer Chris and I went on this backpacking trip called the Camino de Santiago, And what it is, it's like a 30-day, just every day you walk for like 20 kilometers, and you go from like the east coast of Spain to the west coast of Spain to this place called Santiago de Compostela. And it's like the thing that people did for like the past 1300 1400 years, since like the 700s, or I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And so this summer we decided to do it, and that was we went into it very, very naive, very just thinking that it was going to be all sunshine and rainbows, but actually there was a lot of hardships that we had to endure.
A lot of hardships our people endured.
Yeah, so that's the subject that we'll be discussing first on today's episode.
Yeah, so the title of today's episode, our first episode, will be Throwback to the Camino de Santiago.
Correct.
All right. How long has it been since Camino, man? Since we first took off?
Actually, today's like the 23rd, 24th, 25th. I'm losing track.
23rd, 24th.
24th, okay.
23rd.
23rd.
23rd is Wednesday.
Okay, so we left...
No, it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. I mean, technically it's the 24th because it's like Wednesday.
Okay. So before we did the actual trip, we went to Paris to look around for like the first time for a few days. So 6 days from now, 6 months ago, we left May 29th to go to Paris. And that was a lot of fun. We went with two of our close friends from high school who also did these past like biology summer programs with us, called OPWA, Operation Wallacea. And so they are and
should we be using names?
Okay, actually I'm gonna blur that in post, but they are, you can just say it. No, okay. Well, they were...
I mean, they're Jenny and Felicia.
Which one is...
I mean, Felicia gotta be... Right? You feel that, right?
Yeah.
Felicia.
Yeah, okay.
You know which one Felicia
I know
is.
which one Felicia... Okay, well, anyway. Jenny, Felicia.
JNF.
We went
Will
to...
JNF see this? Because if we talk shit about JNF, then, like, they know who's... You know what I mean?
No, we're not gonna talk shit about you. If you're watching.
If you're watching this
yeah.
podcast. Probably not. Probably just be us watching.
It's just like three views.
Like
3 views, like you, me, and my mom.
Yeah.
Oh shit, my mom can't see this because.
You're mad swearing, dude. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Alright, so I mean, we won't throw shade against Jaina.
Yeah. Anyway, we went to like the summer, like 2 summers ago. We went to Africa together. Africa, Tanzania, and Malawi. And the previous summer, like summer for me going into senior year, his summer going into college, we went to Ecuador and the Galapagos Islands together. So we like around this time last year, Chris was over at my house before he went to college, and we were just talking. And I brought up, in 9th grade, I had a Spanish teacher that I called Profe. And he always shared with us,
Profe, mean professor?
He liked to be called professor in Spanish, so we call him Profe. His name was Webster, Profe Webster.
Webster is like a Jewish last name, though, right?
He's white. I don't know.
What the fuck?
No, he was.
Man, wait.
He studied in Spain for like a while, so that's how he was like an art student, but he also learned like Spanish. Anyway. Anyway.
Interesting.
He shared like this backpacking trip, and I remember just thinking about it when me and Chris were just hanging out before he went to college, and so I brought it up with Chris. And we watched a few videos on YouTube, and then suddenly like we were really hooked. And I remember calling Jenny on the phone, and me and Chris we FaceTimed Jenny, and we were like, "Yo, Jenny, like, what do you think about doing this 30-day backpacking trip in Spain next summer, or like the past summer from the present?" And Jenny was automatically just hooked too, and we then invited Felicia. Sorry, I'm laughing because we're using like aliases for them. I don't know. We didn't really ask them if we can share this experience and use their name. But anyway.
I had a Spanish professor named Senor Cote, and that he was Spanish. Unlike yours, which was a white guy who was an art student in Spain for like 1 year.
He was really cool though. He was
Senor Cote was not cool.
Why not?
Siéntate! Like, sit the fuck. I didn't need to pee, dude. I needed to pee, but he wouldn't let you pee in like the 2-hour block. Yeah.
Is this ISB?
That's ISB. Yeah.
Oh, and context. ISB is the high school that we went to in Beijing.
Logo will be up here. International School of Beijing.
That's right. Underline circle. That's gonna be hard to
That's
do.
That's gonna be hard, bro. I don't have the fun. No underline, no circle, just image. Boom.
Yeah. Okay. And
yeah, I mean, we like called everyone up. We decided, and then was it January, February? We're like
around like spring this year, like
spring. Was it spring?
Yeah.
Yeah, like him and Jenny planned it all out, and then we bought tickets and everything around spring.
Yeah.
And then we're just getting ready to go, and
literally it was like for I think I can speak on behalf of both Jenny and I. It was honestly like the our passion project, like our brainchild throughout senior year. It was like what kept us motivated and what kept us going.
Yeah.
That was like the light at the end of the tunnel. And and that's how I like really got to know Jenny too, and it was really nice.
It's okay, brother.
What are you doing?
It's okay, brother.
Yeah, but so about 6 months ago right now, we left for that trip, and the first few days of the Camino, they were pretty good. Like the first day was all right.
Was the first day good though? I remember we was mad at Jenny and Felicia for being so slow, man.
Yeah, so there was I don't even know where to start. Like we went in with this like rose colored glasses, just like really optimistic, like kids, like a bunch of goofy goobers from SpongeBob. You know, like skipping around and like thinking like, oh my gosh, walking 25 kilometers a day is gonna be a piece of cake. Afterwards you can just chill and listen to music and eat good Spanish food.
Nah, man.
But no, dude. Yeah. If you ever do the Camino, don't have such high expectations. Everyone else in my class, they were in like Mykonos, getting like drunk and lit, partying, laying on the beach, and we spent a month in fucking pain and misery and grimace. And so what happened was how it got to there was and this is gonna get a bit deep. There was a lot of fighting in between like between Chris and I, between Jenny and Felicia versus Chris and I, between like Jenny versus me, between me versus Felicia
all
versus
kinds of fighting.
it's just like like a web, pretty much.
Fuck fest of fighting.
Yeah.
It was like Captain America Civil War.
Like a love triangle, except the triangle is a
is the satanic star.
Right. And then instead of love, it's hate.
Yeah, it's hate. It's a hate triangle. It was a hate triangle.
Yeah, honestly.
I mean, it's expected. Like, we were trekking, and me and him, we ran quite a bit of it. But it's like 8+ hours. You wake up in the morning, and you're just like, fuck. You have to walk. You walk, and like, I'm somebody who gets tired after 30 minutes of walking. But when you're doing 8 to 10 hours of walking a day, like, it doesn't seem bad when you're like 8 to 10 hours a day. But really, when you put into context, like, from morning, from sunrise to sundown, you're on the road, you're consistently moving, and you're carrying a big-ass rucksack. And just, like, that physical burden, I think, really took a toll on all of us. It was, like, an unexpected, like, slap in the face, like, bah!
Like,
yeah, I was like, da, da! It was just like...
You're already walking, like, 8 hours a day, but here it's, like, a bowling ball that's handcuffed to your leg, right?
Yeah, definitely different kind of animal. Yeah.
And apart from the physical pain, well, I feel like pain is a really strong word, but it was really painful, right? We had a lot of injuries, in the whole group. But apart from the physical challenge, there was also like a lot of just, so like as I said before, there was a lot of drama and emotional burden between the four of us.
Yeah, for sure.
There were a lot of well, on my side there was a lot of expectations, as I realized afterwards, after being conceited for so long, that I do have like a very idealistic personality, and so I like to expect certain scenarios, and then obviously if you expect scenarios to play out, they're not going to, and then I just have to live with all the shortcomings, and that always like brought down my mood, and that was a big like a big weight on me. So for example, I'd expect like, and this is really petty, I was really petty back, I mean I still am like really naive and petty, but especially back then I wanted like for our group, as like the four of us to all walk together. And I remember like in the first week we didn't really walk together because Chris and I well, for me,
it's just too fast, bro.
No,
You're
well,
just sonicking it right there.
but like we were being really fast because, well, for me, like and this isn't the right mindset to go into something like a 30-day walking trip, but I thought of it as a competition, and I didn't want to admit it, but I'm always walking and looking at the person next to me, and I'm like, I'm gonna catch up to you, and the person that's in front of you, I'm gonna catch up to that person, and I'm gonna be the first person to get to the hospital at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And you know, I was just really prideful, and that's one thing I learned like the most. I guess if I could apply it to my life, which I'm trying to, if I could apply it to my life now, that's the most important thing that I learned, was how to really take a step back and look at your pride, because honestly I was so prideful, and that really, I let that, like, I always ask myself, like, what did that cost you? You know, this trip could have gone so much smoother if you weren't so full of yourself, if your ego wasn't so inflated. Yeah.
Damn, man. I thought this podcast was supposed to be funny, man.
Wow, we're getting started on a really heavy note.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that I let that out.
Well,
But
I'm
we're
gonna let
opening
something
up.
out, man. One of my biggest struggles, bro.
Also speak louder.
Alright. One of my biggest struggles, though, to be honest, was just like genuinely not being able to jerk off for a long time, bro. No, for real. I mean,
That's
every
true.
night you're in hostels, so like we're sleeping in like open, like giant rooms, like bunk beds, like, 20, 30 bunk beds, and the showers are public, communal. Like, I was just trying to find time to do my business, but I couldn't. It was like No Nut November, but forced upon you. I mean, at least in No Nut you can choose to lose, right? But like in this was just not the case.
It's a voluntary celibacy.
I was an incel for a little while. And that was really hard for me. That was one of my struggles, I think.
Really?
But
Did not jerking off affect your mood?
I got like very angry, sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit.
So you never had that like post nut clarity to like be rational?
I had no nut clarity.
No nut. What's like
no nut haze.
no?
It's like a small.
That's like a brand new sentence.
Yeah, I mean, all jokes aside, though, it was just, like, one thing was just like not having your personal space for a month.
Yeah, because it was like we moved in pretty much.
Yeah.
Like we were seeing each other for 24 hours every day. Right?
No, it's okay. I'm just saying it.
Yeah, and so I guess, on the plus side, even though there was so much fighting and really putting friendships at stake, at the end of the day, I can say that all of us, we definitely walked away.
Did we?
Def-
we though?
We definitely like limped away with a lot of things to reflect upon, and still to this day, like 6 months later, I think about the Camino almost every single day, and it's just like I went into the Camino thinking that, wow, okay, walking every day, this is gonna be great for me to process high school, the past 4 years of my life. But no, it gave me so much more to think about. Yeah.
Yes. I think it was good. I mean, it definitely was like the start of a good habit of like reflection, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that everyone needs that. And if like anybody who's listening or will eventually watch this, like, I think it's good to have that time and something very like out of your comfort zone, and experience that pushes you to like reflect, to really think about your past, where you're at now, and the future, where you want to go. And we all did this before a time of transition. So I was transferring into a new school, and he was going into his first year of college. And to be honest, we were like the youngest people on the Camino. This is some shit for like old motherfuckers, like some 50-year-old old motherfuckers. And those 50-year-old motherfuckers, for some reason, they're like surprisingly very like
Fit
and good. I think it's the mental strength. So what we definitely lacked, as even though we had like maybe
we had the energy.
we had the energy,
kids, but
yeah, but we didn't have the mind of adults to do this thing, you know.
no.
But we came out of it men.
Can you say that a bit louder?
We came out of it men.
No comment. I think I still have a lot of growing. But yeah.
What the fuck?